Hey, hey, everybody. We are here to do the fourth in our X-Men film commentaries. And that means it's time for the one, the only X-Men Origins Wolverine. So, as is our standard procedure, if you want to watch along with this commentary, then get your copy of the movie to timestamp 0. If not, then just listen to this as its own thing. Once I say now, we will all collectively unpause and begin this wonderful, magical journey together. So get yours queued up. And three, two, one, now. So as usual, we always open with like discussing our history with these movies. This one I saw in theaters. I saw it with my dad, and the second time I saw it, was the infamous like unfinished effects version that he got as like a bootleg from our local barber shop, which makes perfect sense to me because I feel like this is exactly the kind of movie to experience that way. Like this is one of those like this is a dad movie, and this is like one of those back alley like bootleg copies type
Don't want
things.
to admit you saw it to anybody.
Yeah, but also just like in the sense that it's like a schlocky revenge thriller. It's always the revenge thrillers that are like that. It's like, yeah, you didn't see this one in theaters.
I did not. No.
So when did you see this one?
I saw this as soon as it hit demand
Oh.
and did not have a strong opinion other than what the heck did they do to Deadpool?
This is like immediately our first mistake, which is that this is already enough story to be like a whole act of a movie, if not a whole movie, and we're just going to toss it aside in these opening minutes.
Yeah, I don't
Granted,
know.
it wouldn't be a whole one of these movies because it's not the setup for a comic book film, but it's a lot of information to be squeezed in such a small period of time.
I I didn't even get through all of it. I read part of the comic this is extremely loosely based on, and I came to the point where I was like, you know what? Wolverine is not, or at least his origin, like him fighting in the army or whatever, like, I don't think there's really a compelling story there. And if there is, they either slide right past it in this opening sequence, or it never existed, one or the other.
Yeah.
It might have been interesting, like seeing them actually do a war movie with Wolverine.
Yeah. Like the real issue isn't necessarily this stuff with them as kids, but it really does feel like there's an interesting movie in the pair of them like going again, we talked about this with the last one, where so many of these movies feel like there's whole movies worth of stuff that's either being glanced over or happening off screen. And like, yeah, I'd watch the movie that's Wolverine and Sabretooth slowly growing apart over the course of like centuries as they fight in all these wars.
And him just taking to all the violence and savagery while Wolverine, like, he's not had a conscience, but it's
Yeah. And which a complaint that I've heard made about this movie from people who prefer Wolverine to be a bit more savage and violent is like he's too much of a charming leading man type, which again you could say is inherent to it still being Hugh Jackman. But I do think there is a point in like we've complained enough about the X-Men movies being like Wolverine vehicles, but if it's a straight up Wolverine movie, he probably should really that's the opportunity that you take to like push him a little further into that more morally gray like violent animal place.
Yeah.
But this movie kind of goes out of its way to avoid making Logan himself like remotely morally questionable or seem all that savage.
Yeah, that's honestly kind of strange to me. So how do you feel about this movie overall when you first see it?
I'm young enough when I first see it that, much like Last Stand, I just take it as a dumb action movie. It's like it passes like right in and out of me. Like I sit down in the movie theater, I watch blinking lights for a couple hours, and then I leave and I don't think about it again.
Oh, that reminds me. I don't know why I'm just remembering this because you this was there 5 minutes ago. But my first actually no, not my first experience, but most of my experience with this movie is watching the bootleg version. The one
Ah,
that doesn't even have all the finished effects, and the
yeah,
score
that's the
during
one.
this opening is completely different. If I'm not mistaken, the score in the bootleg version is taken from a Transformers movie.
I would not remember that, but I'm sure you're right.
Yeah, there are multiple scenes. Like there's a scene where Wolverine watching the bombing, like that was previous quality effect. Like the effects were nowhere near done. Um,
Yeah,
my
like
my aunt when she was still alive had that version of the movie, and I kind of we watched it not religiously, but a fair amount because we didn't actually have cable. So I would just rewatch all of her bootleg movies.
hmm, yeah,
Yeah, I
there's
remember distinctly. So the first Transformers, you remember the moment when Megatron's getting his heart messed up by the cube? First
no, but
Transformers,
I'll take your word for it.
that's the score from that scene is what's playing here.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, I
it actually fits really well, and I kind of like that better than the score that's actually here.
I remember not a thing about the score for this movie, so
Yeah, I mean the original score is not very memorable, but I remember that specific track from the first Transformers movie playing during this opening.
hmm. Yeah, I honestly, not to like go too far down this road, but I really do think there's an interesting movie you could make that ends here. That like it's this really dark, tragic thing of like, how did we get from where we started a couple of minutes ago to one of these people is willing to attempt to rape a woman and like murder his comrades when they try to stop him. I'd like to see like that path of like the path down that like darkness, and how does Logan react to that and make that the story. That's something
Yeah.
that you could do.
How does he go from loving brother to that?
Yeah. Whereas here it's literally all prologue, so like I don't know, man.
Yeah, like I think there's fundamentally you should have just made this a war movie. Um, and it would have been fun. Like you couldn't do this obviously because at this point we like the MCU literally just started a year ago. Um, and like you can't include Captain America in this, which would have been that would have been so great Like that's one
Yeah.
of the coolest aspects of Wolverine's pre-Weapon X years to me is him not only going to war, but like having an interesting relationship with Captain America.
Hmm. And we've already got the role that Ryan Reynolds will just commit
And
to.
obviously that wasn't the same war. Well, we show him fighting multiple wars. We go from I don't remember where we start, but I think we do Revolutionary and
Yeah,
we
we
go over
start
to
with
Vietnam.
Revolutionary.
Yeah,
Gymnast.
that dude, I've seen him in quite a bit of stuff since this.
Which one?
The guy who plays Blob. He's in The Strain. He's in Legion, not the X-Men show, the movie about um the the angels coming to kill everyone and like bring about the apocalypse.
Huh.
Yeah, he plays Gabriel in that movie, and he is utterly terrifying. It's the scariest I've ever seen an angel. He's got a mace that he skewers people with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's it's quite an interesting movie. This was a weird thing for Will.i.am to do. Just show up in a random superhero movie.
Yeah, I really got to question why he's in it.
Yeah,
Like,
why?
was this the thing where they were like, Will.i.am is super hot right now, let's get him in our thing? Or was he like, X-Men, yeah, let's do it?
Yeah, especially because I never see him in a film again.
Yeah, he's not in anything but this, is he?
I can look that up while we were talking. I consider myself a pretty well-rounded guy. I have seen nothing else with him in it.
Hmm.
I watch all kinds of things: horror movies, rom-coms, comedies, action. There's really nothing I won't watch as long as it's good.
Yeah. I do like the little bit of genuine terror on that guy's face. But I was gonna say
Oh, yeah, he's
something.
also in Real Steel, who, funny enough, beats the crap out of Hugh Jackman towards the latter end of that
Nice.
film.
The two of them must have liked working together. But there's also what was I gonna say? Slipped my mind. Oh yeah, I don't want to be too mean, but even having seen the version of this movie where the effects are unfinished, like the finished effects don't look great, guys. Like we're gonna get to the scene in the bathroom where everyone complains about the claws. Overall, the CG in this movie's not great. Like it's
Yeah, but
significantly worse than The Last Stand.
it's a little bit past sci-fi original movie.
Yeah, like not quite bad enough to be a TV movie from around this time, but it's pretty bad.
Even still, that's like the 12th thing wrong with this movie.
Yeah,
I If a movie is good, I can ignore bad effects. Like that does not bother me if the overall quality of the story and characters and stuff, if all that is top notch, then I can tolerate some bad effects.
yeah. And this is the bit that is mocked in Deadpool 2, where he tries to do the same spinny sword move, and it's like he barely even blocks half of them.
He doesn't block any. Well, he blocks like two or three. Um, oh, and another thing I hate about that though is they cut what made that genuinely funny out of the film. Because in the trailer for Deadpool 2, he's like, um, "Your bullets, they're really fast," but then without that joke, he just hyperventilates and then just goes right back to fighting. And you're like,
Yeah,
"Why would
I
you do
wasn't
that?"
sure. I was completely unsure why they made that cut.
We also clearly are not trying to evoke X2. Like, this is not the backstory of X2.
Yeah, no. Like, straight up. And I think this is a thing where we talked about with X2, like, we don't leave that movie needing to see more of Weapon X. Like, yeah, maybe just for curiosity's sake, but no part of me leaves X2 going like, I need to see that experiment done. I need to see Wolverine pre Weapon X. Like, I don't have that instinct. It's kind of
I've
like this
never
movie
had it.
feels unnecessary.
Really does, yeah. Especially because none of these characters, and I mean none of them, are genuine, are well drawn, really, with the exception of maybe because there's a scene that I really like, if I'm not mistaken. There's a scene that I really like between um, Wolverine and Will I Am. I don't remember his actual name. I'm just gonna keep calling him Will I Am. Um,
I know that his like not regular name is Wraith.
oh, that is what we call bad editing.
Yeah, I think John Wraith is his name. I think that was a weird bit of slow mo for no reason.
Yes, it was. I've never been put in my place in before. This is so awkward for me. We got to make a moment of it. This is such a hollow but ridiculously well acted exchange.
Yeah, like at most, this should come at like the midpoint of a movie, at the earliest. But we're still this is still technically prologue. Like, you could make the genuine argument that we are not into Act 1 yet.
And why does he have a conscience and his brother doesn't?
Yeah.
We
Like,
never really.
nothing about the scene with them as kids conveys the idea. Well, actually, you know what? That I'm wrong. There's one token line in the bit with them as kids that suggests that maybe Victor is more remorseless. And that's when he's like, I didn't mean to kill him. And he's like, yes, you did. It's a good thing that you did. Like, that's not enough to go on to be like, one of these kids is going to end up relatively fine morally, and the other one is going to be a blood psychopath.
And the guy who the actor who quote unquote played Sabretooth in the first X-Men movie really wanted to be in this, and I'm like, dude, first of all, you are a character, and no offense, but that's kind of the right call because you're not an actor. That's why I didn't let you say anything.
Hmm. This is a slightly smaller example of the problem of skipping over stuff, but like, just we cut to 6 years later and suddenly he's in this committed relationship,
I'm
and this is
invested.
gonna, what'd you say?
I said I'm invested. I'm totally invested.
Yeah, like, this is gonna be the crux of the plot for 80% of it, is like his feelings toward her. How did they meet? What's the deal here? Like this movie is full of things of like if everything that deserved to be fleshed out here was fleshed out, then we'd be this would be like a trilogy unto itself.
I don't know if there's that much story to tell.
Well, I mean, let's pretend that like all of the war stuff is its own movie,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
that could easily be its own movie.
yeah, that is in fact a lady in a box.
I don't understand this.
This particular bit, or just carnivals in general.
Yeah, like, I mean, I've gone to the South Carolina State Fair like almost every chance I've gotten. I understand carnivals. What I don't understand is why we have to waste so much time on a character that we don't flesh out, that Wolverine doesn't even interact with past the prologue. Heck, they don't even actually have an exchange. He says nothing to Wolverine, has no bearing on the story whatsoever. He's just here, and then um, Sabretooth shows up and kills him. Why do we have to have this exchange of him even interacting with other people when he's not even really a character, nor is he important to the protagonist of this film?
Yeah, and like he's got his little role in the mission that they do, but he doesn't really do anything that like an inanimate object couldn't do.
He is canon fire. Why do we even bother giving that half-hearted attempt at trying to make him a character when we're just gonna kill him minutes later?
Yeah.
We did not need that exchange with him screwing around with that couple. Actually, we don't even need him. We need none of this.
Yeah, we really don't. And it's like it's so odd because he's such a nothing character with the fact that he lives like this and he seems to be kind of a weirdo. And like we just it's here for 5 seconds and we do nothing with it.
Yeah, like apparently the idea is ex operatives who are mutants taking their blood so they can be stuck into some clone. Well, so that their abilities can be harvested, and then he just kills them. This guy is essentially a living EMP. He can turn some lights off. Like he's so irrelevant. Why do you even need to come here and take his power? Yet you don't kill him. Like he is not a threat whatsoever. It's the least. I mean, yeah, he could take out, depending on how far his powers go. Like he could take out a city's power or whatever. But ostensibly, he's kind of like as low as you can get on power scale.
Also, when Deadpool does get his abilities, does it like does he actually use that one? I don't remember.
No, he never uses that. And they're
Hmm.
fighting, like it's like sunset time,
Yeah.
right? Just after. Like there's no. He's not put in a scenario where that power even comes up or would be useful.
Yeah.
I do kind of like Wolverine waking up and whipping the claws out, kind of calling back to what he accidentally did to Rogue.
Yeah. And like the fact that he did actually accidentally scratch her in like his night terrors. Like it's
I
weird that
like
we
that he
just
found.
completely gloss over that.
Yeah. Well, we find out later that she's a mutant, but on
Mm.
paper, I really like um, that someone as unlucky and a character as tragic as Wolverine found someone who is appears to just be a normal person who's okay with what he is,
Yeah.
and not just the fact that he has powers, but the trauma that he carries with him. Like
Hmm.
obviously, that the night terrors and um, living with being a soldier and that whole thing.
That was also another weird edit. Him shooting the cigar.
Yeah, it's got to look really fast, like he whipped it out really quick. Also, I don't get this guy. Like that team was supposed to be assembled of all mutants. This guy can shoot guns really fast. It's not a superpower.
What is he? Is he like what's his name? The guy from Alphas who's just like got really good aim and coordination and stuff?
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say they try to allude to the fact that he has super sight. Like he can like zoom in. His eye can like zoom in really close on things, and he's like really far away. That's the impression
Maybe.
I got watching the scene where he shoots the um the husband of the wife, like that old couple that helps him out later after he's gotten his metal claws in the barn.
Yeah.
Because we do a weird fucking zoom shot all the way back to him from like kilometers away, which gave me the impression that he can see that far. I mean, I think he's still using a scope, but I don't know. It's weird editing.
Yeah.
I want like these two have chemistry, if for no other reason than the fact that Hugh Jackman just has chemistry with everyone.
Yep.
But
I'm not getting a lot from her. Like she's not
yeah,
bad, but
no,
this is a
she's
very
not bad.
thankless role. Yeah,
It
it's
just
just
it
this is a thankless role for most of it.
it's there's so much that we don't have. So much just happened off screen. He met this person and has been with her for a long time, and we were not there for any of that. It's just here.
Yeah. Like it's just really odd that he suddenly has roots here and stuff.
Yeah, it's a bizarre choice.
I do like what we have here. Like this is the foreshadowing of like her ability and the fact that she could just make him do whatever he wants or whatever she wants. And the implication is she deliberately chooses not to use it on him.
Yeah, that's really nice. I like that. And it's one of the only bits of good setup and payoff in the whole movie.
Yeah. Yeah, like you didn't stay in the car, did you? It's genuinely. Like she allows him that kind of freedom.
As a genuinely good person would,
Hmm.
even though she unbeknownst to him, she has to use him to keep her sister safe.
Hmm.
This is always felt like a weird way to give him the name.
Yeah. Which I mean, it's kind of the thing that we're stuck with Logan of like the Wolverine doesn't actually make a lot of sense as an animal to compare him to, but we thought it was a cool name back in the 70s. And I mean it is a cool name, but it's not exactly as advertised in nature.
Yeah, which is why you just don't touch this. Like you don't give it an origin. We don't need an origin for the
Yeah,
name.
why can't the origin in story be what it is in real life, which is like someone thought it sounded cool?
Um, and even then, you don't have anyone come out and say it at that point. But as
It's
far as
also,
I
am I
know,
wrong? Am I wrong, or do we not also see in X2 that Wolverine is on the dog tag?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Which doesn't make sense with this being the origin since he's out of the army now.
But wouldn't he still have had dog tags?
Yeah. So like I'm
Because he was
saying,
pretty ugly before doesn't mean like I don't see what the issue is.
I mean, was he already calling himself the Wolverine before that conversation?
Well, the dog tags are made in this film.
Oh wait, they are? Okay.
Yeah, like he says he wants new dog tags. Right before
Right,
the
right,
the
right, right, right. I
procedure.
forgot about that. Totally forgot. You're right.
He's like Wolverine. Roll credits. Well, that's a Simpsons joke. I know you don't like them, but
Roll credits,
that's one of the
baby.
long running jokes that I've always really liked. Is when we have like the obligatory like say the title of the movie in the movie.
Yeah. What should your dog tag say? X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Roll credits. Everyone's that was the movie.
Trust me, we cut it off before it could get worse.
This was genuinely intense. I remember first seeing this.
Yeah, because we're not at the point where this movie is remotely unsalvageable yet. Like it's not good, but there's nothing that's happened so far that can't still be the prelude to something really nice.
And right before you got to the car, I thought we were going to get our first action scene in the woods.
Yeah, we haven't had a straight up action scene yet. I mean, like the assaulting the base, I guess, was meant to kind of count, but it barely does.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not sure if we actually explain how she doesn't have a pulse here.
Yeah. It's some kind of um like she says what it is. I think it's like a real world thing. But it's one of those medical things that you use to put someone under or whatever. I can't
Mm.
pronounce it.
Okay.
And this starts the comical I want to say it was what channel was it? Screen Junkies. This is that made like put together a compilation in their trailer of all the yelling in this movie.
I mean, we started that when he was a kid.
Yeah. And then we just keep it going. There are so many moments where someone just charging at each other or they're just like screaming. Ah! It gets
I
pretty
like
comical.
I like that. I like the little bit where he just hears him yelling in the distance, and he's like, "You got any insurance on this place?"
that yeah, that's just those are the bits of I mean acting wise, I like pretty much everyone here except for Stryker. Um well, I can't even say that. Uh I like Hugh Jackman and I like Lee Schreiber. Um he's not a bad choice. He's reveling in the role. He just needs better
Yeah.
material. He's so good. He deserves to be in such a better movie.
Yeah. Like for as much as we all enjoy like nuanced, layered villains and stuff, it is just fun to have a bad guy like this who just indulges in being a monster.
Yeah, he's chewing the scenery. And he's really unconventional. Like he's in great shape, but he's not like the bound giant that you'd cast if you were trying to go straight off the page.
Yeah. Also, I regret asking for an action scene. Take me back to when there were no action scenes because this is edited really bad.
Bro, what? Every time. So much. They're not even doing moves that are all that complicated or fast. You don't need all this quick cutting.
Yeah. Like, I don't understand this thing that so many action movies have where every move, basically, every movement has to be its own cut. I don't understand that.
And obviously, there's not. It obviously is very dependent on the situation and what kind of action you're doing.
And, like, what the mood of the scene is supposed to be, or the
Yeah.
character's supposed to be kind of disoriented. But, like,
But
this is
generally
just
speaking,
straightforward.
this is all stuff that normal people can do. It's not any crazy like flips or kicks or anything like that. It's all things the average person can do. You shouldn't need to hide. First of all, you shouldn't be using stunt double. There's not a single, except for that, if you were actually going to have like an actual person fall off of something or whatever. But for the most part, you don't need a stunt double for this fight. Just back the camera off a little bit and let them go at it.
Yeah. Just have a couple of takes that last more than a second. Ow.
Ah, feel that. But yeah, not and I I mean I actually want to go in to editing professionally and like so I do find myself paying attention to it a lot more in movies.
Yeah.
Like that scene in The Boys when Queen Maeve is training with those guys is edited terribly. I don't know if you remember that, but that took me out so hard I paused it. Uh, Wolverine, despite him being as angry as he is, should kind of be too smart for this.
Yeah. I feel like, because I don't know how much of it is he necessarily. It's not a problem until we get to the end, where it's supposed to be a big shock that Stryker was manipulating him. I think if he knows that he's being manipulated, but he doesn't care because it lets him kill Victor anyway, then that's a way to go about it. But that he like genuinely trusts Stryker at all is a I mean, it feels like you shouldn't even have to clarify that, Logan, since you were the only one who had a code of conduct last time.
It's just cool trailer fodder lines, and
Yeah.
they know Hugh Jackman can deliver the crap out of it. So, like that's so good, I wouldn't want to cut it. Like I know you really don't need that in this movie, but just seeing that, I'm like, yeah, don't cut this. And it's also clearly not the same place.
Yeah, it's not the same place. It's lit differently.
It's not like there's no frost. It's tropical,
Oof.
and it's like high up in like these tropical mountains. Like it's completely different spot. And this so starts the we don't care about continuity thing with
Yeah, I
X-Men.
mean, Last Stand already had like its own weird little, not like continuity, like flubs, but like introducing stuff into the continuity, like it's always been there. But this is the first
Yeah,
time we really just straight up start retconning stuff. And we will never stop.
No, we won't. And like we give ourselves a pretty easy out with Days of Future Past, and then we ruin it again.
Which, like, that's got to be one of those things where it's like, who, someone working on Days of Future Past had to be thinking that what they were basically doing was giving themselves a clean slate. But then I guess they did. I don't know. Was that just a thing that we all assumed as viewers when really that was never the plan to begin with?
I think you're right about that, because even though it was an arbitrary choice, making Stryker Mystique instead of real Stryker at the end of Days of Future Past was a huge mistake. That was wouldn't it be cool if we just see the eyes glow and it's Mystique? No, because that doesn't make sense.
I mean, that's the kind of thing that could be cool in a thing that's like, we're just going to completely do something that's totally experimental and not even like the comics, even less than these movies already are. Like, we're just going to do a completely original to these movies thing. But
well,
like,
here's the issue with it. Mystique at that point has no idea who the heck Wolverine is. Why would she bother saving him? Secondly, and more importantly,
ooh,
oh yeah, well that's rough. This Weapon X still has to happen, and how does Mystique? I mean, how does Wolverine end up getting saved from Mystique to moving into Weapon X happening again, just randomly in Apocalypse with
the answer is
no?
don't think about it.
Yeah, I don't think it's. Ugh, I hate that.
And we're going to get to something real stupid in just a second, where all this is happening and like someone's going to say something like, oh, the mind wipe him or something.
Yeah, Stryker says it.
Which, like, such a weird line. Not only in that it's stupid that you would say that while he's still right there and conscious, but also why have that line if that's not ultimately gonna be the thing that does take away his memories?
Well, I also
Like,
what I also don't understand.
We need a reason
What
for
I
him to get mad and bust out of here. But I feel like that could have been achieved in a different way.
It could have, but the bigger thing for me is, wasn't that always the plan anyway? Like, you got him here under the guise of helping him get revenge. Um, but if you really don't, you can control him to the extent that you want. Why wouldn't that have been in the back of your mind anyway? Why do you need to talk about it? And why are you just coming up with it now?
Yeah, why do you have to explain this to somebody? This you're right. This should have been the the plan. Everyone in this room except Logan should have known that this is what was going to happen. But then again, you know, people are just stupid sometimes.
I also think it's completely unreasonable for Stryker to wipe him, because they ran all these Black Ops missions together. He's been quietly married in the middle of nowhere with somebody for 6 years, and obviously he didn't leak any intelligence. Why do you think he's going to say anything about the operation you just gave him?
Yeah.
That's another issue with it. There's really no good reason for him to wipe his memory.
Yeah, this is all just really, really contrived.
It'd be one thing if you had a legitimate reason. I think he heard you.
His face. Like, really, yeah, Danny Houston's not giving a great performance in this movie. Buddy, what do you think you're doing? You just pumped him full of unbreakable metal. Yeah, let me stop him with my bullets.
Yeah, but what's really dumb is they know this. They know bullets are not going to kill him.
Exactly.
You just made that possible.
Jesus, that's a long fall.
That's got to be terrifying. I mean, I jumped off the elevator of my ship and that was only what 25-foot drop.
Jeez.
That was at least, I'm guessing, I don't know, 200 feet. And he must have been running for quite a while to end up all the way out here.
Yeah.
Um, this is
Oh god, it's a
kind of the
surprisingly
most.
bad green screen driving shot. Yep.
Ma and Pa Kent are kind of the most in one of the most endearing parts of this movie.
Yeah.
Well, I call them Ma and Pa Kent. They're not actually Ma and Pa Kent, obviously, but like, you know what I
No, they
mean.
totally are. This is in the DC continuity, isn't it?
Oh, it can only help this movie. Make it any worse.
Oh god, they killed Martha. Clark is gonna be real mad.
Actually, yeah, that hurts this movie a lot. You just murder Ma and Pa Kent severely. Severely hurts this movie.
I mean, it's Hugh Jackman. The rest of his naked body will probably give her a heart attack, too.
Yeah, so this is the infamous scene everyone loves to complain about.
Yeah.
And what's okay, so I get it because
Oh,
they
yeah,
looked
looks
more
real
real in
bad.
the first. Yeah, they looked more real in the first X-Men movie.
Yeah. Like, significantly so.
Actually, yeah, I never even questioned it. They looked completely real, like they were there. Um, again, like that's the 12th thing wrong with this movie. Like if we had a story, you'd never hear me complain about that.
Yeah. Yeah, this face. What, you've never had a guy, like, come into the dining room holding half of your bathroom sink?
Just put it on the counter. At least he was nice enough to, come to them and say, "Hey, I broke this." I remember in Amazing Spider-Man, Peter just breaks his own sink and then just leaves it
Yeah.
there. There's also something really mean-spirited about just executing these poor nice people in this
Yeah.
fashion.
And like they never come up afterwards. It's like your use in the plot as like a tool is
No,
done.
they
Just gonna
come
murder
up.
you.
They come up afterwards,
Oh wait, they do?
very briefly. Following that same scene, yeah, when Wolverine kills that agent dude with the guns who's in the
Oh,
costume,
Zero.
he's like, yeah, those are good people back there, innocent people. And then Star just kind of chuckles and laughs, and then Wolverine gets angry and blows him up, and then walks away.
Eh. But yeah, like logistically, there's really no reason that had to happen. Like there could be shots fired at Wolverine from outside the house. He tells them to like scurry off, and he goes to deal with it, and then that's the last we see of him.
Um, I do under those people, the organization responsible for Weapon X. Once they find out that he's been in contact with civilians, and they don't know for sure what he has told them, I could see them being like, "Yeah, eliminate loose ends, kill them." That makes sense. I just think Wolverine, yeah, as you said, like have them run off somewhere, get somewhere like safe or whatever, and then like I don't know, towards the tail end. Actually, no.
It's for something that is still ultimately trying to be a superhero movie where Logan is like a virtuous figure. It's a weirdly callous move on the writer's part.
Just kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in a movie that was darker than this is, where Logan himself is not as is a little bit more of a grayer character, that would be it would feel a little bit less of an issue maybe.
Yeah, it's the weird shot I was telling you about.
Yeah.
God,
I'm like, okay, so he says Logan murdered two civilians. So like that would be potentially interesting if this guy was like a character and that character moment meant anything, but here it's just like, okay, I
I don't
guess
even
he's
think
just
that's a character moment. I think that's their easy out. Like that's an explanation for their death. Like the authorities find out like Wolverine's the one that killed them. God, that is terrible. What is his power? Super jumping? And like, yeah, that looked really bad. That did
yeah,
look
what
sci-fi in the movie when he leaps like 12 feet into the air into the copter.
what is this guy's powers actually?
I don't think the writers even know.
Does he have powers or does he just live in like B movie land pretty much?
I think it's probably B movie land. Normal human beings can't jump 12 feet in the air. I don't know an NBA All Star that can do that.
Oh god, the editing, it's too much. And like this
Michael
chase,
Bay
I could
doesn't edit
see.
his action movies this poorly.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I said Michael Bay doesn't edit his action movies this poorly.
Yeah,
I
no.
actually like Michael Bay a lot as a director of action. I know a lot of people hate his work, like his movies on the whole. I
I
think
think his
he can.
action scenes are really hit and miss. Like in some movies, it'll feel very deliberate, and like even within the chaos, there's a clear like he's a guy who understands the craft of action movie making, obviously. And then in other movies, I guess it just feels like he's not trying as hard.
I always thought that was a cool use of the claws.
Yeah.
And the claws, there's so much creativity you can do with it, but oh wow, yeah, this movie and its effects. I'm noticing every single time. or at least a good bit of the times throughout this sequence, every time we see Hugh Jackman, it's green screen behind him.
Yeah. Which
And
I
they have
mean,
someone else actually driving the motorcycle on location. And I understand that for safety and practicality, like you don't want to risk hurting your lead actor. At the same time, like we got Carl Urban driving a speedboat at 90 miles an hour through the water and ramming into a fake whale with all the actual cast members on the boat.
yeah. And it sucks because I can picture the version of this same action scene where the editing is the only thing that's different and it's actually really cool.
Yeah, like give this scene to Chad Stahelski, and it's a lot better.
Mm-hmm. I love that line delivery, like Logan. I swear, he's given like Danny Houston's given a really entertaining bad performance.
Almost like this is I don't know if this is gonna make sense, but it kind of feels like an inverted Nicolas Cage.
Kinda, yeah. So yeah, I guess Agent Zero's just a freaking crazy blood psychopath.
Well, you got to be if you're gonna work with Stryker, and your name's not Logan.
Mm. Ooh, we're really going overboard on the radical '90s guitar.
Well, it's a very '90s thing to like have your hero walk away from an explosion in slow motion.
Yeah, I swear, this movie feels like the kind of thing that would come out in the '90s, like direct to DVD, starring Sylvester Stallone or Steven Seagal or somebody.
And like obviously those have their place in cinema. There's an audience for that.
Yeah,
Um, but even a lot of those films tell a better story than this.
or at the very least, they're not trying to tell that good of a story. Whereas this feels like this is trying to do stuff, and it's if it tries
Yeah,
and
or
fails, then
solid schlock tied together by scenes of plot and exposition,
yeah,
which is a large part of what those movies are, as opposed to this that thinks it's telling a story, and it kind of is. In It's so weird. Like it both is and isn't the most convoluted, meandering revenge story. Oh, I forgot all about us doing Cyclops in this movie.
yeah, real
Um,
weird placement for that scene. It's like it's really just hitting me how completely out of nowhere that was. It's like
well, see,
let's randomly cut to this kid in sunglasses for a scene.
I could see the other argument of this doesn't exactly have anything to do with Wolverine's part of the story. It it's building to just showing us more of Victor hunting down and uh, you know capturing and or killing mutants. Um, but just because if you just put the other scene of Victor actually hunting him in the school with that, it's gonna feel like we're spending too much time away from our lead.
Mm. Because it's like I just don't think you need it because
No, because A, we already did it, and like the only reason to do it again is just so you can throw in more fan service of having a mutant that people actually know in the movie.
yeah. But I just mean like once Victor shows up, that can The first scene of Scott can be Victor getting at him. We didn't need that weird little bit of setup for that.
It's kind of that it's the circus thing of trying to give a character that's not a character some character. This is actually a pretty impressive practical way to do a blob. It looks so real and disturbing.
Honestly, yeah. This is so dumb.
It really is.
Logan's face. It's like, how did you even hear that from what I said? This is silly, but I like this.
It's so goofy, yeah. But it's like for the first time I'm genuinely engaged and kind of liking the movie.
Yeah. Like it feels like this feels like a different movie to what we've been watching up to this point. Again, Hugh Jackman has chemistry with everyone.
Everyone. He could have a neo-Nazi as a best friend, and I'd be like, "Yep, makes sense."
Like I could watch the Hugh Jackman Will I Am Buddy movie.
I'm kind of hoping for that. Watching this scene, like,
Ah. Ooh. Ouch. This guy just keeps taking hits right on the head.
and that's a decent transition, I guess. Whereas Victor, cut to
Here he is.
it.
Like, yeah, we didn't need to set up Scott prior to this.
No, he didn't. I guess the solution is yeah, just cut that previous scene because that scene justifies itself more if he's actually in more of this movie, but he's not. Oh, that's okay. I, no other way to do that, but they were too ambitious for the money that they had.
Yeah.
In a weird way, this does kind of feel like a fan film. It feels like a fan film made with obviously the real actors, but with a group of people that only like briefly skim the comics, don't really have an affinity for comics in general, and it's like throwing a bunch of wouldn't it be cool if ideas at the wall and seeing what doesn't stick and picks them off the floor and uses those.
Yeah. Which I mean, when it can work in its own weird way, it's like scenes like that. that are that are like goofy nonsense and like feel like they belong in a different movie.
So we know that Victor wants the same operation to be done to him. And for whatever reason, supposedly, he wouldn't survive the operation. For So we know that Wolverine has healing factor pre that. We don't really know that for actually, yeah, we do because they get shot at and don't die. They're put on the fire squad at the beginning, and that's why they're in the yeah. So we know that more or less, at least in this continuity, Sabretooth has pretty much the same healing factor. Um, so I don't see how that makes sense. I also don't see why Stryker has to be so convoluted in dealing with both of them, or he's trying to pretend like he's indulging Wolverine in his revenge quest, and then quickly switches tactics and just wants to kill him. And then we got Sabretooth who wants an adamantium skeleton for himself. Um, but we've got Stryker jerking him around on it, and I don't know if what he's saying is true or not. And if it's not, why he would be. Well, I guess I can see him being reluctant to give it to Sabretooth because if he becomes a true loose cannon that he can't control at all, he has no way to put him down.
Yeah. I'm not really sure how any of that is supposed to work. Again, this is the first time I'm watching this movie in a little while, and it's not exactly like those kind of plot details are the most memorable. I
Well,
is Guys, is it necessary to drive the motorcycles into the crowd of people?
is there any other way to drive a motorcycle?
That was a weird edit. Like the little zoom in on him, and he's just like, "That's cool."
I'm ready for my close up. I don't mind this casting. I like him. I know a lot
Yeah,
of people really hate on this Gambit casting. I think he brings a lot of swagger to it and personality.
yeah. Honestly,
And I can understand wanting someone that's Cajun or at least can do a really good fake Cajun.
yeah. But if he can convey, like you said, that swagger, I think that goes for a lot.
And Taylor Kitsch, I feel, is a really under underappreciated actor, especially post John of Mars. How infamous that movie was for bombing.
Yeah.
Oh, not John of Mars. John Carter. It was supposed to be called uh, John of Mars or like John Carter on Mars or whatever.
Huh. I did not know that. Oof, that's quite brutal. Even though like there's no actual gore or anything on screen, just the idea of that is really like getting your spine grabbed mid teleport and pulled out of your body.
Yeah, that's as close to being able to put a Mortal Kombat fatality in a PG-13 movie.
That said, that line about him not having a spine is weird, since I'd never got that impression of this character.
Yeah, that and like he's barely in the movie. Like he's got some great rapport with Logan, and then he is killed here. We don't really know him as a character all that well. Actually, like we get a pretty good sense of him when he talks to Logan about what happened to him after and the jobs they were running after he left.
Mm-hmm.
Like how he ended up with it too, and he and Logan are kind of kindred spirits. So we know as much as we need to, I think. Um,
Honestly, I'd have liked to just have him in more of the movie.
yeah, he just needs to be in more of this movie. Like, don't kill him here.
Yeah.
Like, especially the one you have to have a bunch of personality and interact a bunch with the main character. That's a mistake.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe have him knocked out for this fight if you just want to have another knockdown, drag out one-on-one fight between Wolverine and
How did
Sabretooth.
Gambit get up there? Last time we saw him, he just got decked in the face, which was funny. But then suddenly he's on the roof, and then this happens.
Well, he went up a ladder. It's the same way he, ends up going down. And he climbs up a ladder. And Wolverine slashes the ladder down, which is another very memeable part of this movie.
And see, like, I'm not even sure why he's like
Why?
fighting.
Why? Yeah. Why do you? He hits you once in the face, and you need to do all of this.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, he initially was fighting him because he's like, I'm not gonna take you back to that prison that I got out of. Like, clearly Logan's attention is on something else right now. Just let him handle it, and you can just go do whatever you want.
Yeah, like he was in the middle of fighting someone else, and you're just like, "Now let me break this up and beat the crap out of you. You're not taking me back, even though you're not
Yeah.
trying to take me."
Oh God, this I keep getting like continually distracted by how bad these effects are. They're just really bad.
Dude, it looks so much worse in the unfinished version. He might as well be cutting through Minecraft.
Oh God. Okay. Oh right, that's his son. Completely forgot about that.
Acting has probably got to be one of the most surreal professions you can have. I found myself thinking about this a lot. Really great actors that I watch a lot, like Hugh Jackman, where it's like you're so good at what you do, and like millions upon more often than not, billions of people are seeing your work, and it'll be there long after you're gone. People are showing their kids your work, and then their kids will more than likely show their kids your work. Like I plan on, if I ever get to that point of having kids, um, showing them the original Raimi trilogy, the Avengers, like that. It's this is a larger conversation than just X-Men, obviously, but like, acting is something that's always like I don't feel like I necessarily could. I don't feel like that would come to me naturally. Maybe I'd have to go to school for something like acting, but there are a handful of people where this kind of thing just comes naturally to them, and they can convey emotion, deliver dialogue, all so convincingly as if There's no set, there's no camera crew. This is just happening.
Yeah.
I just I
You
find
got
myself thinking about that whenever I watch Hugh Jackman.
ooh. But yeah, you've got to really be able to put yourself into that space of like the fictional. You have to actually, like, I don't want to make it sound cheesy, but like spiritually inhabit that fictional space. Like when this movie is being kind of silly, it's actually really fun.
Yeah. And when characters are allowed to have personality and like bounce off of Wolverine, however they may, however their personalities mix, like it's fun. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
Like
but
keep
that's
your eyes
few
on
and
the what? Clouds?
far. Everyone, literally everyone.
I was gonna say, like, we just keep saying it over and over again, but it's true. You pair him up with anyone, and you've got like a duo that I could watch for a whole movie.
Yeah, I could do with 20 more minutes of that helicopter scene. Oh look, we saw him earlier in the movie. We're dragging him off into the area of our final conflict. Set off and payoff. Oh, set up and payoff. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. Didn't
Cinema,
expect
cinema.
this, did you?
And we're gonna randomly have Emma Frost in a minute.
Who we make the sister of Wolverine's wife?
Which I mean, I guess if you're gonna have your gratuitous cameos, at least let them be story relevant? Question mark?
Yeah, I guess that's better than her just being a random whoever who also happens to be here.
Yeah, this is the moment in the theater where some guy who's in the theater with me is like, "Oh snap, Deadpool!"
So funny enough, because the second after he hit the water, I was waiting to make fun of like him being completely dry,
Oh
and
yeah, you're right.
then and it looks like someone literally just took a spurt of water. It's like not completely vapor, but just like spurted some water on his face and on his neck, and that was it.
Yeah, like I'd have thought that was just sweat.
It might
Even
be
this
just
scene,
sweat.
which I know is on a set, looks weirdly green screened.
I don't really agree. This all looks fairly fine to me because it is fine. It's not on green screen. Um, but just the thing that takes me out almost every time by the time we get here is the fact that he's still completely dry. Hair is in the, you know, perfectly like done or whatever. And he's supposed to be, just getting out of the water after smacking the ocean
Ugh.
and tumbling like a stone, skipping on water. Yeah, so she's explaining it here.
Okay.
Yeah.
He pulled the Nick Fury.
To to do an operation so that we could immediately kill the person that we do the operation to, and then just keep doing the operation, even though there's only conceivably two people that you know of who could survive said operation, which is Logan and Sabretooth. Like, this is such a weird, nonsensical plot.
Yeah.
What is the point of even trying to, I guess, patent it or whatever? If you only have two people that can survive it, and the only
Well, I
reason,
guess I don't
the
know.
only reason, the only
That's
reason
right.
Deadpool conceivably survives that operation is because um, he has. See, that's the other weird thing about how they come up with their version of Deadpool, because conceivably they didn't just give him the blades; they metalified his whole skeleton.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to cut through adamantium, even with adamantium. So how Logan decapitates him at the end, I have no idea.
Uh,
Oh wait, I know how. Never mind. I just
oh,
froze
right.
that.
Yeah. As you said that, I remembered what happened. Yeah.
His blades are hot. Yeah.
Because once again, we've decided that we don't remember how Scott's powers work.
Oh yeah. They his and the claws can just absorb his blast.
Yeah. Even though they should go through it, it's like a fork.
I don't know why. Yeah, that scene in the superhero movie where Dragonfly's fighting the bad guy and he's like titanium blades. They cut through diamonds and he's like, I'm not wearing any diamonds.
Surprise.
Yeah, he's using us.
Like, I mean, what did you think? Wait, why not? Why
Yeah,
don't
why
her?
not? That's a
Yeah.
good. I want to know the answer to that question because that's really dumb.
I was so
But
mad that I had to take off my shirt.
no, this is for the ladies. His hair is interesting here because it's still clearly styled, but it's not. It is not classic off the page Wolverine because he's not
Yeah.
Wolverine yet. I kind of like that choice.
I didn't even think of it as a choice. I just think of it as like maybe they thought it looked a little too silly in the previous movies. Because his hair here is like it's styled and it's big, but it's still just kind of like conceivably just a guy's hair.
Yeah. Whereas it's styled to look like how it looks in the comics in those
Mhm.
first three movies.
Yeah.
It's all about my sister. We can totally pick up where we left off. after I save my sister. Oh wait, I'm gonna die at the end. And you're not even gonna remember me, so my death kind of doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, and like she just walks up, like if I recall
Wouldn't it be so much
correctly.
more tragic if she goes to like embrace him and he has no clue who she is?
Yeah, honestly, like there's like her dying because it would be sad isn't really something that we need. It would be sad anyway.
Yeah, what would be way more emotionally resonant if she still remembers him, has all those experiences, goes to hug him after finally getting her sister out of there, and he has amnesia and doesn't know who she is.
Hmm. These things are the perfect space apart for Wolverine to do a cool run.
I could just see it now. Some like concept artist is putting that moment together. He's like, this is gonna be so great.
I mean, hey, they put it in all trailers, so
Yeah, they practically sold the movie on this scene. He's gonna cut some people and free them from their shackles. I think I also remember. Oh yeah, there was Transformers music playing over that scene too. Which the Transformers music is phenomenal. Steve Jablonsky, I think, is the composer for the pretty much all the Transformers movies. He's done a phenomenal job. Um,
Hmm.
he, the infamous Baraka
Baraka.
throwdown with blades that are longer than his arms. It shouldn't be able to fit in his arms.
How would you be able to bend your arms? Is my question. You've got an unbendable, unbreakable metal running up the length of them.
Yeah, we're not thinking about that at all. We literally stop thinking after Wolverine kills his own dad or like adopted dad at the beginning of the movie. After that scene, all bets are off. We're doing whatever.
It's just such a weird. I can't imagine what the thought process was for making this Deadpool. Like, do you decide that you want Deadpool in your movie first and then you do this with him? Or do you be like, we need our Weapon 11 bad guy, and you're like, hey, let's make it Deadpool as like a lark?
Yeah, what Deadpool and he's never really been he's a play on Deathstroke. He's never been the monosyllabic assassin.
Yeah.
The complete polar opposite of that.
Like, here, he's not even an assassin, he's basically a Frankenstein.
Yeah, he's just Frankenstein's monster with some blades, and this could have been anyone. It didn't need to be Deadpool. And to stick Deadpool, first of all, sticking Deadpool in a Wolverine movie is already weird anyway, because you're not gonna straight up like Deadpool, as he's generally thought of, is not what you're gonna do in this movie, and he doesn't belong in this movie, despite the fact that he also, at least in uh, most of the comic iterations, also comes from Weapon X.
Hmm. This is dumb. Like, what motivates this? Logan, why? Why did you think this was a good idea?
You can't climb all the way up here. It's gonna be a lot harder to stick your blades in there and climb
Hmm.
with it. Oh,
I will say I like the teleporting effect. Like the fact that his skin goes first, and for a millisecond you can see his skeleton.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I do also like the little moment of like Wolverine like when he
Yeah,
teleports. I'm like,
like
seriously?
yeah, like the reason that we have him go up there is so that we can have that little comedic beat of like, Jesus.
See that this is actually it's it's not good, but
I always think
like
like a fight scene with a teleporter is inherently cool. Like you've got to work
yeah,
hard to screw that up.
yeah. But I do like. Oh wow, I do like back to back. I got
Yeah.
him. No, I got him. That's cool setup for a fight.
Mm-hmm. What isn't cool is that we give him the Deadpool mask eyes because of Scott's laser vision. Like what? You do realize that Scott's eyes don't look like that, correct?
You do also realize that his beam would go through the holes in the claws and would still hit him, and he can't block those beams with his claws.
Like we screw Scott over so consistently in these movies to the point that we just don't even care one iota what his powers actually are.
And the only reason we do that is so we can convincingly cut through adamantium.
Yeah. Like this whole movie is just made of so many arbitrary decisions.
That is kind of, this that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I know because of continuity that we will continue to ignore, just trust me.
Uh, well, he knows because Xavier's whispering in his head, and I kind of wish he'd just say that.
I don't know, he'd be like, a voice in my head told me.
Oh yeah, yeah, they think he's crazy. Never mind.
See, this is
They're
so
like, you
weird
know what?
and dumb. Like,
Stop the
why?
script.
I guess he's like, okay, Wolverine will never stop coming after me, so I gotta get rid of his memories. But still, it's like, why specifically is he like, the memories won't come back? It's like he knows that he's doing this just because this movie has to end with amnesiac Wolverine.
Yeah. What are you doing? Fulfilling my duty to the script. And then he walks away with the gun.
Also, I wish that brothers look out for each other beat felt remotely earned.
Yep, because it does not.
Oh, hey, Gambit's back.
Another
Cool.
Deus Ex. Nice. He wasn't in danger of dying, but would have sucked to be permanently stuck under rock forever.
Yeah. Also, I like how he's like, I thought you were exaggerating when you said you were going to kill everybody. He's like, do I look like a man who exaggerates? Well, the people that you said you were going to kill aren't actually dead, so yes.
Neither of them.
I can kind of, seeing this play out now, I can kind of get behind it. As like, she got shot in an earlier scene. she already knows she's dying. She tells all the kids to get out of here, and she's like, I'm gonna stay behind. And she does it just so that she can tell Logan, like, no, what we had was real. I need you to understand that I do in fact love you. Like this, if this is gonna be the last thing I do, if I already know that I'm bleeding out, then yeah. I like that.
It's, I mean, we don't really get to. I don't know. For whatever reason, like us just cutting to them already being together the way we do, um, and just the fact like that feels so typical to kill her off anyway. Um, I'd much rather prefer us have her live. Like have Stryker already get to Wolverine, do this, even though it's stupid, doesn't make sense. That's not how amnesia works. And then have her go to embrace him, and he has no idea who she is.
Yeah, that would definitely be a different kind of tragic. But I do, and I think it would be pretty neat. But I do think there's merit in what we have, which is like that endears her to me. It's like she's been dying for a hot minute, and she's like, I'm gonna use the last of my strength to make sure that he knows my feelings were real. You really should kill him, though. Although, I mean, hey, points for that. That's really sadistic.
She deserves to be more fully formed, or at
Hmm.
the very least, I don't know, have more screen time as opposed to like me being only endeared to you just because Hugh Jack has chemistry with everybody, and then fake out you're not really dead.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen her since this film, but I'm really coming around on her. If they actually they gotta fundamentally change what this movie is, but if they still want to include her, she's good.
Yeah. Oh god, that shot was bad.
Yes, it was. And uh, Patrick Patrick Stewart's like young CGI face almost worse than Luke's in Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a lot worse than Luke's in Mandalorian, and he's real. He's actually there. They just de-aged his face, but it looks
Spoilers for The
horrendous.
Mandalorian, by the way.
I guess you can put that in a description or up at the top. My bad.
Oh god,
Uh,
they like the bullets didn't even come out of his head like last time. Like what did your forehead just heal around the bullet and now it's stuck in there? That's got to give you like a constant headache.
what is? Yeah, I mean it is tragic for like him to like go to for her to go to him, let her know that the feelings are real, and that he doesn't get to really live with that for any amount of time.
Yeah, it really depends on like what kind of tragedy do you want this to be? Because like there is something to the idea that she would have to live with that.
And I like the idea of leaving someone alive from Logan's old life that knows who he is.
Yeah, and it's just like out there in the world while he's like forging a completely new identity for himself.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that that works a lot better than that,
Mm, I can see what you mean.
especially if we continue further on in that direction. maybe something brings them together while he's already had an established history with the X-Men. And that could finally snap him out of lusting after Jean.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, she's dead now, but
It's also a shame that we always have to have Logan be like the lone wolf. It's like I would have been cool with the movie that ends with him and Gambit running off.
yeah, or it's obnoxious how much we play, how much we double dip. Because I mean, when he meets the X-Men, as far as I'm concerned, for the most part anyway, he can't keep doing that. Like you can't have him be lone wolf and he's interacting and living with the X-Men, going on missions with them, saving humanity with them. Like, you can't. You can only have your cake and eat it too, but so much with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a movie that we watched, so we could talk about First Class sometime later.
And you know, I mean, I've gotta say, like, this and Last Stand are both movies that, at least around when they came out, people got like genuinely angry at them. I can't bring myself to be angry at anything in either of these movies. Like, they're just regular bad movies. They're not like offensive or anything.
No, they're not. And it's a decent time. Like I could watch this. I could watch this with a group of friends on the ship who aren't hardcore into these kinds of films, and they would enjoy it fine. We discuss it for maybe 15 minutes, and then we move on.
Yeah. Like, it's good for a laugh. And this movie does have post-credit sequences, but they are frankly not worth hanging around. And I surprisingly have a couple things to do, so I am going to call it early and say that I hope you enjoyed listening to this, and I look forward to finally talking about an actually really solid movie next time.
Oh, and fun treat that I'm gonna give you guys if you made it to the end of this, I'm gonna announce something. It is not a for sure thing yet. I already told you about this, Nick, but I was scrolling through Facebook the other day and I saw an ad for extras for the third Spider-Man film. There's like a casting call for extras involved with that film, and I applied and was messaged back and was given an email, and now I have a Zoom call meeting that I need to attend tomorrow at 12 to see if, and I am praying, hopefully, against all odds, that whatever bit that they're shooting is like there's like a 5 day window where I can come in, shoot my scenes, and they don't need me again. Or at the very least, if they do, it won't conflict with my schedule for work because those are non-movable. I work for the military. There is no taking a sick day. They own me. I am walking government property. I am punished very severely if I skip out on work. Um, so yeah, I hope all goes well and they I can actually go to New York and shoot however many scenes that they're offering me to be included in. So yeah, it's pretty super exciting. Never done anything like it. Who knows? I might get lucky enough to actually meet Tom Holland. we don't know for a fact that Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire are in the movie yet. It's loosely all but unspokenly confirmed, I guess. But yeah, just thought I'd throw that out there. I found out if it's a sure thing tomorrow, so fingers crossed.
Nice. So for now, this was a fun time, and I hope you get the good news tomorrow. But until then, I will talk to you later.
All right, buddy.
Bye bye.